Hey there, everybody. Robert Taylor with Wonderscape Creations, continuing on with my auto material for Wonderscape materials. So in this one, we were going to go over one of my paint layers. We're going to do the Biome 01. Obviously, it doesn't matter which one it is. They're all identical, just outside of the parameter names. Within this tiny node, you have this giant one. And within this giant one, you have all of these small ones. All of these obviously perform different tasks. You have AO control, albedo noise, color variations, color controls, debug material, which is why it's green right now, normal intensity, triplanar nodes for texture and normal, and the transform UVs. So we're going to go ahead and hop on in. First thing we're going to do is turn off the debug because we don't need it. It's just an example. Here's what we start with. Looks pretty nice, but it's not really game ready. So obviously you have use mask, use emissive, use albedo noise. We don't have an emissive, so we're not going to use it. And we want to use the albedo noise, and because we're doing mega scans, we're going to use the mask. So we're going to check mark that, and it replaces that with that one, and albedo noise, so you can quickly see the change. It just adds more variation to help reduce the tiling. And the first thing we're going to do is add this clover patch material. Add this in here. There we go. So to make this a little easier for you guys to read, let me change this real quick to 1.2. Come back in here. Ooh, a bit fast. So if we come in here, as you can see, grass is a little hard to see, so this is definitely too dark. It's interesting that it's gone and done that. There we go. So come on over here to that albedo noise contrast. There you go. Looks quite a bit more natural, and it helps reduce the tiling, which if we go ahead and remove it, makes the tiling quite noticeable. Removes it quite a bit. Obviously, when your world is all done, you're not going to see any tiling regardless, but with using RVTs and having the colors of the grass be manipulated by the color here, it really helps bring variety to your grass. So I enjoy having these set up for the color. So next thing we're going to go over UVs, quite standard. 2, it's going to make it bigger. See, as you can see, we're clearly seeing the clove right now. The noise intensity. I hit 5. Looks ridiculous. Looks pointless. So you can better understand it, let me quickly go to this one right here, just to make this a bit more apparent for a moment. So this is how the normally is. It helps make it more 3D, obviously from a straight on point. From this way, it looks ridiculous. But straight on, this is default. So in conjunction with the displacement, if you're in 5.3 or above, it could look very, very nice. Anyways, let's go back to the clove. AO intensity, this is where the clove really shines. So obviously if you go with 1, there's not really much there. 5, bang. You can really see the difference between the grass and the clovers. Obviously you don't have to have it at 5. 3 is another great place to have it. You start seeing more of a variety. Makes things a little more different. Roughness and specular, you know what those do. Obviously, if you had emissive, there'd be an emissive color and strength. So now we're going to come in here to the color controls. Tint influence right now, there is no tint set up, which is right here. So there shouldn't be any change. If I come here to the tint and I change it a little blue, now I change the tint influence. There's huge changes. Let me change this back. There we go. Saturation. It's making the greens greener, the reds redder, the blues bluer. Likewise, 0.5, 0. Now you're in black and white. So if you're wanting no color in the texture when you're doing the tint and the tint variation colors, which we'll go over in a minute, you can easily start off with black and white. Brightness, exactly what it says it is. And contrast, 0. Now it's extremely white. 1, it's normal. 2, it's really dark. But as you can see, there's also a lot of contrast, but obviously combined with light, it looks ridiculous. But having full color control is necessary when you're making your world. So before we go into this big change, I'm going to go over this little one. Obviously you saw already, it's this right here. So each layer has control over it to be set up how you want. It's really up to you. Now, let's go and see some more crazy changes. So we're going to use the color noise mask. You can obviously choose the texture that you want to use. I'm going to stick with the one I got because it's the one I like. I'm going to make this especially dark. Initially, you're not going to see much of a change. First thing I'm going to do is change this to 1.2. Now you're seeing even more of a change. And then I'm going to change this to 124. If you really want to see it on a smaller level and more easily, change it to something like 45. And when you're down here, you're seeing a lot of different color. Obviously, if it's not enough for you, you can go even darker. You can come in here, go to this, increase tints to 1.5. If you go to 0 here, it's going to remove it, even more of it. Negative 1.5 brings it back to how it was, only there's less of a transition between the dark and the white. So if we go negative 0.5 and then 0.5, you can see there's not really any change. Go back up to 1, really starting to see transitions going on. Obviously, you can increase this even further if you'd like. But yeah, that's those changes there. So next thing we're going to go over is triplanar. We're going to go with something that is a bit more obvious to see the stretching. Here we go. We're going to change this to 10. No, let's change it to 50. There we go. Still difficult to distinguish because it's grass, not a lot of straight lines. So let's go ahead and go to sand, rock cliff. And we're going to remove the noise mask. And then we're going to remove the albedo mask. So you can clearly see that it's stretched. If you look straight down here, no stretching. But if you look straight up here at this, stretching. We come over here, use triplanar, Stretching is gone. Let's actually make you 10. Maybe even 20. There we go. Now there's no stretching. Now, obviously, this might be easier to see if we go with the defaults. So here's the change. Why is it doing that? Probably because of that. There we go. Because that's green, which means it's black, so it made everything dark. So turning it off. So here's how the triplanar looks. Obviously, if we turn it off, it's going to go back to what it was doing, and it's stretching. Like this. Now it's not stretching, it's creating some variation, and it's staying, looking nice, in my opinion anyways. The final one is the nanite, and in order to do that, I would need to change the landscape to nanite, so it's not something I will be doing. It is a request that I was getting from somebody waiting for my material, so it is there to be utilized. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in future episodes.